The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 9th day of October, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BEDC group of companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamillah Hartman. She's Mia Chambray, and my I believe will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. Mia, welcome back.
Hi. I know I've been on a little bit of a hiatus, so yeah. So yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be back online.
I saw you went to London. Like, how was that?
Yeah, so I actually went. So for those of you who don't know, my husband is from Manchester, and so we went to Manchester to celebrate. His best friend got married, so we went just for a quick trip to the wedding, and then we got stuck in London for a day and a night while the hurricanes came by. Yeah, so I mean that was fine. We just hung out at a hotel room. So I have a little boy named Gunnar. So the three of us just hung out in a hotel room, and we watched. This is one of my secret loves is game shows. I absolutely love game shows. So we watched Challenge TV, which is in the UK. They have a whole TV channel dedicated to game shows and TV challenges. So
when you go from Bermuda to Manchester, you have to like connect a flight in London and then fly up to Manchester?
Yeah.
Okay.
Through Heathrow. Yeah.
How long is that flight?
Like it's 30 minutes.
Oh, okay, not long.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's fine.
Oh, okay. How long a drive, do you know?
Yeah, from London to Manchester, it's like a 4-hour drive.
Oh, okay. Yep. Flight it is. All right, folks. Well, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Jamillah Lodge on from the BEDC. We're going to be talking about local vendors. There are so many small businesses and local vendors who you see all over Bermuda throughout the year, and you see more and more, Mia, local vendor markets. So we're going to be speaking to Jamillah about how the BEDC is empowering local vendors and what they're doing to support people grow in those spaces. Also, folks, the Daily Play is a name that place. Yeah. We got you last week. Yeah. We asked last week, Mia, we asked them where was Microsoft. I think that was the question. Where was Microsoft founded, like the state area? I think it was Albuquerque, New Mexico, and people were like, oh, California. Yeah, so I didn't even know the answer, but we'll ask you another question today, folks, so hopefully you get that one. And don't forget to do us a favor, go to our website, thedailyhour.com, and make sure you subscribe, put your email in. We might have some things coming out very soon. Remember, I keep telling you about our annual survey. And make sure you follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Suzanne saying, super awesome Thursday, Jamillah and Mia. Welcome back, Mia. I missed you.
I miss you too, Suzanne.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I missed everybody.
Mia, did you get any flowers at Cassine from Suzanne?
Not yet.
She said not yet. All right. Well, Suzanne, we'll measure your miss by the flower. I'm joking. All right, folks, let's get to today's question. So yesterday, I believe Rhonda Trott had put it in the comments. We got quite a few people reached out to us after the show as well. And were asking us to discuss the rental consultation that's happening in Bermuda. So questions of the morning are, what would you change to make Bermuda's rental market fairer for both tenants and landlords? And do you believe Bermuda needs a full overhaul of its rental laws? Well, why are we discussing this? Well, folks, let's give some background about the rental consultation. So if you haven't been up to date, well, I think they're closing at October 31st. So the forum is open still, it's active until October 31st. So just to give you an overview, the Ministry of Home Affairs launched a public consultation on the Landlord and Tenant Bill 2025, which aims to repeal and consolidate two outdated laws, the Landlord and Tenant Act 1974 and the Rent Increases Domestic Premises Control Act 1978 into modern enforceable statutes. All right, so some key areas that we want to know is, people want to know, why is the reform needed, Mia? And basically, like with many laws, current laws are nearly 50 years old and no longer reflect today's housing realities. There's growing frustration from both landlords and tenants over rent hikes, repairs, evictions, and long court delays. Between 2016 and 2023, Bermuda averaged 2,230 rental complaints a year, peaking at 4,300 in 2020, right? So what the proposed bill aims to do: merge and modernize outdated laws for consistency and simplicity, cap security deposits, late fees to improve affordability, introduce clear standards for repairs, rent reviews, and evictions, ensuring transparency and fairness, strengthen tenant protections against unlawful evictions, harassment, or lockouts, and create a legal obligation for both parties, reducing disputes and uncertainty. Also, they're trying to make it, faster and fairer, right, for dispute resolution. So the bill proposes a rental tribunal or mediation system, allowing for faster, lower cost outcomes than court. Resolution times for rent arrears could drop from 6 months to just 44 days. And this is expected to reduce complaints by 20 to 30% within 3 years. All right. Now, accountability and enforcement. A single law simplifies enforcement for Consumer Affairs and the Rent Commission, giving them clear powers to act and investigate. Annual reporting requirements would enhance transparency and public trust, and stronger enforcement will deter neglect, unfair practices, and exploited rents. Now, economic and social impact. More landlords may return properties to the market if they feel protected, right? Because there are a lot of people who are either doing the Airbnb rentals or preferring not to rent their places out. So it could increase housing supply. That's the hope. Tenants could gain security and confidence, reducing the transience and housing instability that we're currently facing in Bermuda. Expected outcomes from this, they're hoping, are lower costs, quicker resolutions, and social benefits like stronger communities and fewer court disputes. The process, just a reminder, been running from September 24th, and it's going to be active until the 31st. So it includes town halls, the online forums, and the email submissions for feedback. This is a major opportunity for Bermudians, I would say, Mia, because Mia said before we came on, she likes, the consultation thing. And I don't disagree. I like the consultation thing. But Mia also said something about, well, it only, matters if they follow up, right? So I appreciate that they're involving people in this. But the hope for all of this, folks, is that it will bring more places on the market, right? Increase availability, make it more affordable to rent, quicker justice for situations, build some community trust, and modernize our housing policies. So again, the questions of the morning is, what would you change to make Bermuda's rental market fairer for both tenants and landlords? And do you believe Bermuda needs a full overhaul of its rental laws? That was a lot.
That was a lot. And it was actually a really great piece to dive into, Jamal, because I think, this scarcity for rental properties and actually home ownership is getting kind of out of control, to be honest. Bermudians and the like cannot find anywhere to live when they come to Bermuda. So I think having a bit more of cohesiveness and updated laws more protection for both tenants and landlords would make people feel more inclined to put their properties on the market as opposed to having Airbnb, etc. Lots of people in Bermuda, it's always been the way that you buy a home with an apartment or a studio, that's your security. That's your retirement plan. But in modern times, I think there's been a lot of issues, as we've seen with almost 4,000 in 2020 and kind of consistently 2,500 complaints from both landlords and tenants every year. There's obviously a problem, and with outdated laws of 50 years, we definitely need an update, and we need more cohesiveness, because at the moment there's two different bodies who are trying to put these legal standards out across for protections for landlords and tenants, and it's getting lost in magistrates court. It's expensive for everybody. So I think this actually could be really impactful and really powerful if done correctly, and if we actually move beyond the consultation phase.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask the audience, just a yes or no audience, have you participated in the consultation phase? Like, has anyone been to a town hall? Have you filled out the consultation online? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to guess that everyone in this audience is probably impacted in some way. You either have a home where you might have an apartment that you rent or don't rent, or you may rent from someone. So it's pretty much either you're directly impacted or someone close to you is impacted. But what have you participated in the consultation process? Just want to yes or no, and it's not a bad thing if you haven't. It's not like we're asking, did you vote or who you voted for? But have you participated in the consultation process or any of the process? If not, why not? Shika Reyna says, Mia, will it mandate site inspections at a more frequent interval, i.e. quarterly? Now, this is important because part of it is people saying that landlords are not keeping up the property, but yet they're increasing their rent. Mm-hmm. I was discussing recently with some people about homes, right? And the whole thing was, you want to own a home, you don't want to rent. You want to have some place to live when you get older. And what I think a lot of people fail to realize is you can still end up homeless if you own a home. And part of it, as you get older, keeping up home repairs, right? You may be retired, you may not be able to fix up your house.
Absolutely.
I think we need to consider so much. But one thing I didn't see in this whole rental, and maybe I overread it or overlooked it in my scanning of things, but the banks play a role here, right? Like if, the bank shifts something, then who's supposed to take that hit? Mm-hmm. The landlord or the tenant? So just to ask the audience, has anyone participated in the consultation? And since anyone said no, not the housing town hall, Polly Ritz says no, and Michelle White says no. Mia, you like consultations though?
Yes, I'd rather be consulted than not be consulted. It's just, I think we talk about this all the time. It's the accountability. It's the follow-up. It's the actually, okay, now we've done this consultation. At the moment, there's 16 people who have commented on this forum so far. So there's 16, which I think is quite low. So I think maybe we need to, if you're listening, please get on the forum today and, make your comments be known. I definitely will be doing so. But yeah, I do like a consultation. I think it's better, but I get very worried about consultation upon consultation upon consultation. I don't like empty promises, and I don't like empty wishes and dreams. I actually want things to get done, but in a meaningful, impactful way that will, positively improve everybody's situation, both landlords and tenants.
Yeah, and audience, again, question of the morning. Let us know where you stand. But we're talking about the consultation this morning regarding the rental market. What would you change to make Bermuda's rental market fair for both tenants and landlords? And also, do you believe Bermuda needs a full overhaul of its rental laws? Yes or no? Dr. Anthony Richardson says, use mediation to resolve matters between landlord and tenant, much cheaper than litigation. Look, I think I told you all last year that a friend of mine told me. She said, lawyers really become rich off of other people's dysfunction. Mm-hmm. That's literally what lawyers do, right? Like they become rich off of our dysfunction. Like we can't get along with somebody. We do something wrong to someone. Someone does something wrong to us. I love the idea of trying to create a space where people don't have to go through the courts.
Agreed.
I love that because that doesn't benefit anyone.
Absolutely, it doesn't benefit anyone.
The lawyer.
Oh, exactly. And also, actually, what I really thought was fascinating, Jamal, and what I really loved is Home has actually weighed in a lot of this during the press, and they've actually have a lot of incredible gems to share because they're really at the forefront of what's going on with the housing crisis, et cetera. And that was one of their main points, was that there should definitely be a mediation aspect to this reform. And I couldn't agree more. I think if we all had a little bit more mediation in our lives, things would be a lot easier and a lot less expensive, for sure.
Yeah, no, indeed. And I just, again, I think people, when it was put out and you have Minister Lightbourne's pitch out there, I saw some people saying, does she do anything on her own? People questioning like, why are they always asking us for the answers? We elected them. And I'm just like, well, I get your point. But
yes,
asking us is really involving us in the process so that when time comes and decisions made, you know what's going to happen. They're going to say, well, we did ask the people. And as Mia said, if only 16 people responded, well, you had an opportunity, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Even this morning, audience, like you're impacted by this. You either rent or own. You may be a landlord. You may choose not to be a landlord. What are your thoughts on this? Do you care enough?
I mean, it's all coming to us one way or the other. We should really care. I think you made a great point about seniors, Jamal. How about on the opposite scale? So Bermudian families or a single Bermudian or, obviously expats who are trying to get on the rental and or ownership ladder. It goes both ways. There needs to be protection on both sides. And also there was a comment from Minister Lightbourne about the cost of living. So hopefully, there'll be some type of overhaul, and that will actually reduce the expense. So I guess at the end of the day, that is what your job is as a minister, is to try to assist people in many ways, and monetarily is a huge one as well. So I think, if you haven't weighed in on it, definitely do on the forum. And also, I wanted to say that since signing up and doing the commenting for the Southlands project, I actually signed up as part of the forum. And every week I get an update for what's going on the Bermuda forums and what you can actually engage with. So shout out to them. It's actually very modern. And I get a newsletter every week from them updating me on what's on the forums and what I like to engage in, whatever consultations are happening at the moment.
Nice. Let's go to Instagram. We've got a couple comments. We've got Marex9194 says, it is all fine and well to update laws, but if the laws are not enforced, we are back to square one. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, be nice to lawyers. No, man. Let me tell you all, I'm going to share something very personal. Man, about 2 years ago this time, I had about 4 lawyers. One from my mom's estate, a divorce lawyer. I had a conscription lawyer. I had my lawyers for my company. Man, I paid lawyers a lot of money in my life. So I'm not love for what they got done for me, though, but in saying that, no. But it's true. I mean, I have never really had a bad lawyer. I hate the fact I've had so many. But you need one. If you got a business, you need a lawyer. If you're fighting, against things and that exist, you need a lawyer. When it comes to family and power of attorney and all that stuff, you need lawyers. So lawyers are definitely necessary. But we have to be careful as people. I always say this. If we approach things like adults, understanding, the first thing we need to understand is we may not be right. And we may not get our way. That's how we should be entering every conversation. The goal is not always to be right or get our way. It should be for a resolution. We don't approach things looking for a resolution. Some people think a resolution is if things go their way and their way only. So I agree with Dr. Anthony Richardson as far as mediation. Again, some lawyers, but lawyers make money off of other people's dysfunction. And if we could get things right, the amount of money we can save. There are times where, well, you can't do things with lawyers. So Yeah, let's get back to the questions, Mia. We've got Kenton Trott says, good morning, TH family. More protections are needed for good landlords. At the same time, protections are needed for good tenants as well. It must be a balance. Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely. You hit it right there. Michelle White says, it has taken 20 years to get to consultation. Now I feel we are being bombarded all at once, feeling overwhelmed. Well, they are asking for consultation on a lot of stuff, and I think people are just like, seriously, another one?
Yeah, it's true. It can feel overwhelming, especially in, the day-to-day, have so many things to do. And I guess it just, things can slip, and then all of a sudden it's at the end of October. I mean, it's the middle of October. How did we even get here? So yeah. I mean, maybe Jamel, after we can post where people can actually engage with the forum, that would be good.
Yeah, I agree. Folks, it's your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. Michelle White says, remember, we can't law behavior, monitor property maintenance, and tenants need to simply respect properties. So there's good stories on both sides and bad stories on both sides. Yes, we know that there are bad tenants.
Yes.
Who some don't respect simple rules. They want to, landlord says no smoking on the property. Tenant says I'm paying rent, I should be able to smoke on the property. You've got landlords who, bad landlords who might say, okay, the rent's $1,500, and next year you've had that entire year you've been living there, you've been having plumbing issues, and the next year the landlord says, okay, your rent's not $1,500 anymore, it's $2,000, and you're like, but you haven't even fixed my plumbing issues, right? I think we want to fix those situations, and we want to. I don't think it needs to be a battle of landlord versus tenant. I think what we're looking for is to find the resolutions. Okay, if this person's having plumbing issues, how long does a landlord have to fix it? What is their role versus the tenants? Is it if the tenant inflicted it due to something that they did wrong? Like, what does that look like? I just think there's so many places to look and things to consider as situations differ.
Absolutely. And again, we just go back to who's going to enforce all of this.
I mean,
you'd like to think as adults that we can enforce ourselves. I have a great relationship with my landlord. He's fabulous. And I like to think that we're good tenants as well. I mean, albeit for maybe some jumping around, because what can I do?
Just blame Gunner, folks.
Yeah, and I'm also a musician, so God bless my landlord, I have to say. But the good thing we're not like totally terrible, so that's cool. But sometimes he'll just our landlord will just come and talk to us, and he's just very nice. He's just very, very, very nice, and just says what he has to say, and we respect it. But not everything goes that way. It's not always. It's not always just two mutual parties who are agreeing.
Indeed.
But nice in a dream world.
Yes or no, audience? Just a quick yes or no before we get ready to bring Maya in for the Daily Hour news break. Just yes or no. Do you believe Bermuda needs a full overhaul of its rental laws? Just a yes or no. Mia, are you a yes or no on that?
Yes, I think it's a great idea. And I think, again, if the consultation goes really well and people have put in some really great comments on the forum, and if those are received and taken in and done in a great manner, and the reform is done really well, and there's people who are going to be able to uphold it, and I think it's actually a great idea. I think it's really good. At the moment, it's in between two different systems, and it needs to be brought under one roof, and it needs to be streamlined. And we need more housing in Bermuda. So whatever to alleviate that is great.
Well, Michelle White agrees, says yes. Dr. Anthony Richardson says yes. Suzanne Ingham says yes. B. Denise Hollis says yes. All right, and we'll share these comments before we go to break. We've got Dr. Anthony Richardson says the law can be harsh in terms of the result, but mediation can also help in reaching a solution that's agreeable to both sides. Absolutely, I would hope that's the route most take. And then we've got Michelle White says maybe landlords need financial planning. Part of the issue is that they use money for retirement living and nothing breaks, and they don't have money to fix the issue. Then what? That's a very good point.
So true.
Very good point. A lot of people have looked at their homes as rental income as they age or retire out of the workforce. And she's right, they don't necessarily plan for repairs and fixtures. So that's something, look, rental income, you are a business owner. right? You kind of, it is entrepreneurship per se. And, you want to make sure that people know how to run a business, understand it. But yes, let's bring this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Let's give them some thanks, and then we'll bring my applause here in for Daily Hour News Break. We've got Jamillah Lodge coming up after that with today's conversation. We're talking about vendors. There's a lot of that. I think there are more vendor markets taking place in Bermuda, like in 1 year, than there probably was over a period of 5 years. Like 10 years ago. Like there's so many. And for me, it just speaks to the opportunities for people who have these products or services that they offer. So really looking forward to the conversation with Jamillah. But let's give Titan Express and Secure some love, and then we'll bring my applause here for your Daily Hour News Break.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All righty, let's bring my Palacio in for your Daily Hour News Break.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
You know what? As always, I'm always feeling pretty good in the morning. So feeling good. Yeah.
Good. Looking great. Looking so beautiful.
Just got a haircut.
Looking fresh.
It was definitely needed.
How long was your hair before?
Well, it was mainly about the trim. And put it this way, Jamal, I don't get enough hair trims. And whenever I flat brush my hair, it was probably like 3-4 months ago, I don't care. And I do whatever to it. So one half was actually way longer than one side than the other. And when I went in, she was just like, I'm cutting off a lot from the right than the left. And I was like, do what you have to do. Just do what you have to do.
She's like, it's just here. Okay.
It'll grow back.
Oh
yeah. I mean, she says it'll grow back. Yeah. I felt like that was like a dig me. I don't know. It'll grow back. Yeah. Some people ain't that lucky. I'm just saying. We got some people that told us yesterday we need to talk about this rental thing today, and then got a couple of messages after the show. Are you guys going to touch on this? And I'll be honest with you folks, I had to do some reading yesterday. Even had to use a little ChatGPT to help me out. So I'm like, well, I haven't really paid attention, but I do. It's like the argument going on in Bermuda social media right now. There's this big argument going on in Bermuda social media right now, and we'll probably talk about it. So someone questioned why Belvin's has non-Bermudian cashiers, right? Mm-hmm. And that started a whole fire where people said, well, since everybody's got an issue with Belvin's hiring non-Bermudian cashiers, why don't you apply for the job, right? Mm-hmm. And then that led to, that's the big response. And one person stepping in and saying, well, Bermudians don't want to do their jobs, and Bermudians are lazy. And it went one thing to another. And I'm just like, man, all I'm trying to say is I deserve some credit for not falling for LeBron James and buying those tickets at a high price. He matched the stock market. Like, that's my thinking on social media over the last 2 days. But it made me think of the rental situation and how, depending on what side you're on, that's all you really see. Like, if you're a homeowner, I'm not rented to Bermudians because Bermudians this or that. And if you're a renter, Bermudian landlords are da-da-da-da-da. Like, no one removes themselves from this situation to look at it, as a whole and say, you know what? Mm-hmm. I don't own a business, but I know I've been a challenging employee. I wouldn't want to work or do this job. We don't do that. We just pretty much take our angles based on however we live or feel and just run with it as the gospel. I'll say this. You guys know what it's like to have people working under you for your businesses. I don't think that all people are bad. I don't think that Bermudians are necessarily lazy or whatnot. I think that people in general, if you don't find the right people, you're going to have issues. It's the same as an employee. If you don't find the right company to work for, then you're going to have issues, right? It's as simple as that. But I think with the rental thing, shouldn't be as difficult as it is with that argument. I think it's not a bucket of Bermudians in a space. It's more or less the Western capitalism, how we've been told that we need to own homes. And in Bermuda sense, when you buy a home, you get an apartment that you can rent to people. And as Mia once said, when we rent to people, we look at it literally just as a source of income, but not as a thing where we need to keep it up or fix it if something goes wrong. I just think we're as a small community, sometimes we need to come to a place and just think outside of our own perspective in both things, you know? It's tough.
Agreed.
I can see all those. Yeah, I can see definitely all those lining up. And one big point that you kind of touched on a little bit, but even I want to make more clear, it's like, we're kind of all product of the society and what everyone's kind of doing. Like, you know, so again, to step back away from things and take a deeper look at the full picture isn't really in our radar anymore to kind of do. We just follow the remit of what's been placed out before, even like the whole philosophy of like, I think, therefore I am, right? It's just like, oh, but am I thinking my own thoughts? Am I thinking the thoughts of others that have already been thought before? Like, you know, like what are we actually, you know, deciding for ourselves in terms of, yeah, who we hire, who we have as our landlords, and, you know, how we go about living together. And I feel like even when it comes to the jobs and everything, I don't think people don't want certain jobs. I think sometimes society has made us think that we are either deserving of more or should be doing more than what we are in order to feel value. But yeah, it's a lot of
I think that's a great way to sum it up. I think we've been made to believe we're better than certain things. Like I remember a time when I was working Hot 175 and I told people, oh yeah, I gotta go to work. Where are you going? Well, I was doing security at Newstead. And they laughed and thought I was joking. I'm like, man, I'm trying to pay for graduate school. You know, when I was washing pots around lobster pot, and like I've done so many jobs and people never believe me. I'm like, no, I really do. But I think Maya summed it up. Like we, in our heads, it's like we demean things. And so we think we're above certain things. Folks, I still would do those jobs if I had the time, because for me, I believe in an honest living. I do.
And sometimes it's not even about the job that you have, but the space that you are in, the people that are in it, you know, the way that you're able to work, the things that you're able to think. Like, I would say my years at Noah's Ark, I miss those years at Noah's Ark sometimes, because like it was so nice speaking to people every single day of every walks of life. You got every walks of life coming in to buy the, you know, food for their dogs and their pets and their animals. Like it was, to me, it was a beautiful job to have. And I thoroughly enjoyed every single minute of it. Even if I'd be like, yeah, I was a cashier. I don't care. It was an amazing job. I love my job. So,
no, it's cool. I mean, and there's odd jobs that what help you build community, right? Build a sense of community, getting to talk to people. While they're working at Arnold's for me, like just stacking shelves and just like, I mean, I love talking to the ladies up showing all the things. Right? That was cool. Like, right, you know, while I was at Bermuda College, and then, you know, my uncles had the gas station down Kroll and making me work behind the counter. I knew nothing about food prep and all that, but it was those experiences. And I've had folks, one day I'll tell you, I've had a lot of jobs because I did a lot. Like summertime when I would work, I was working like 90 hours because, you know, I wanted things when I went back away, but also before I even went to school, you know, I was just, that's the family I came from. I come from a family where outside of my parents and grandparents, I've never, ever had to ask anyone for anything because I was taught to go and, you know, find a way and make it for myself. And I'm gonna say this, I think that's what drove me to Maya in particular, because I was like, I'm gonna put our business on the street. I was like, damn, like, why are you so focused on doing your own thing? Like, you know, most young people want to go, you know, work, get a career started with someone else. And when you learn people's stories and their desire and so on, you're like, all right, that aligns. And it's why you're attracted to the Sanchez and Mias of the world who have their own space. You're drawn to certain people. I'm talking to we've been on her and we got a news break to do because we got Jamillah coming up, don't we?
Yes, we do. All right, so good morning, everyone. This is your daily hour news break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. Remember, free parking, easy access, get everything you basically could ever need or want on the day when you're thinking about it straight when you wake up in the morning. So head over to People's. They definitely have everything that you possibly could need. All right, so going into your news break this morning, I just want to close out our conversation because when you guys were talking about it, I had to go on the forum.gov.bm site. So you see here, one thing that stood out to me that I didn't quite hear in the comments was the pets. There's so many people making comments about like, you know, being able to have animals and pets in their homes. So that was a big standout one on the forum.gov.bm. And like Mia said, yes, 16 comments have been made right now on this form. So definitely, if you want to give your input, read it, and then, say what you have to say about it, because everyone's comments right now, and the major one right now is about pets, which is quite interesting to me. So just wanted to share that right there for you guys in the audience.
Real quickly on that, before we move on, Rhonda Trott said, my objections to the draft landlord-tenant legislation concern the excessive involvement of the legislative branch of government. The minister should not preside over or appoint anyone to preside over disputes. I actually didn't see that as a problem, but it is. It is. I do agree with her, but continue, Maya. I just wanted to point her comment out. I didn't see it as a problem at first read, but I think it is.
So turning over to our news break, so Bermudians now have even more choice and flexibility when planning their next trip to the Big Apple. Now, this is coming from Bermuda Air. So this month, Bermuda is expanding its network with the launch of a new nonstop flight to Newark, Liberty International, and LaGuardia Airport. So these new routes complement the airline's existing service to Westchester County Airport, meaning Bermuda's own airline now connects directly to all 3 points of what they're calling in their press release as the New York Triangle. So the addition of Newark and LaGuardia further strengthens Bermuda's growing East Coast presence, and this winter airline will serve 8 U.S. destinations now, including the ones in Canada being Toronto, Montreal, and Halifax. So flights between Bermuda and Newark will operate twice weekly on Thursdays and Sundays.
Well, I can't afford to travel anywhere, so tell me how your flight is, folks.
All right, heading into a bit more serious news, and this is coming from the Bermuda Police Service, that they commend the residents who have provided any information to support the ongoing police search efforts regarding missing 15-year-old Jador Wilson, and encourages more community assistance to help locate and return Jador to her family's safety. This comes after a possible sighting of the missing teen that was reported just in the last couple of days. So all potential sightings island-wide are actively being followed up, they say, in addition to proactive police patrols and increased focus on finding the missing teen. As previously reported, apparently 15-year-old was last seen at her North Terrace Pembroke home Wednesday morning on the 17th, and is described as light complexion, 5 feet 5 inches tall, and medium build, weighing approximately 175 pounds, with black and blonde hair past her shoulders, which may also be worn in a shorter style that you see here on the screen as well. So just having those updates there for that instance.
I'm just going to say what we've said. She's a young girl. She is a child, and her family is looking for her. If you know anything, just please reach out to the police.
Indeed, that's really it. If you see something, you know something, say something, as we say with a lot of cases across the island. Now, I'm going to close it up with this story here, but I'm going to ask you guys a question first. If you know the answer, don't spill it. Just let me know if you do. But do you guys happen to know a little bit of the history of why we have a halftime show for the Super Bowl?
Oh, I can't answer.
You can say yes, you know why we have a halftime show, or you can say no.
I believe I was told the answer.
Okay.
No.
Mia? No?
No.
Okay. I know it's in a while before we get, the halftime, the Super Bowl. But, it's been a conversation already drumming up all over social media. This came on my feed a couple of days ago, and I was very intrigued about it because I didn't know this history. And I felt like, dang, this is something I should have known, been known about how monumental this moment is. So here's a video clip from a podcast that actually talked about it in depth, that gives you a little bit of information. So hope you enjoy this bit of history as to why we have it.
The show in living color. Groundbreaking, trailblazing sketch comedy show created by Keenan, and it launched the careers of Jamie Foxx, Jim Carrey, Jennifer Lopez. I mean, amazing show. During this time, this show was red hot. It's at the peak. So they said, the Super Bowl gets so much viewership, but what are people doing during halftime? Let's see if we can get some of those viewers over here. And they were on a separate channel. So they created the In Living Color Super Bowl halftime show. It was music, sketch comedy, and it was a 12-minute show. And when viewers switched over, they had a timer that let you know when the halftime was over so you can switch back and watch the game. Viewership was through the roof. Nothing like this had ever been done. It was a super success. NFL took note of that, and the very next year, they booked Michael Jackson. The rest is history. And that's why you have such big name acts today during the Super Bowl halftime show because of that year. And I think that's a dope story. Like I said, Keenan definitely doesn't get the credit he deserves. I want to give him his flowers because, man, what he did in the entertainment industry, it was just so groundbreaking.
Oh, I thought the answer was Michael Jackson, but you went deeper than that, folks.
Yeah, you went deeper than that. Because at first, when it first started, like in 1992, I believe they just had like the marching bands and things like that, and that was it. But when, you know, In Living Color and Keenan, they noticed that, they're like, what are people doing for all this time? Because people do drop off when the halftime came, but now, and then they did that moment that brought everyone over, which was like pretty monumental. And then, you know, next year they're like, well, we got to get a big name so people don't leave our channel and they stick with us. So I was like, I'm gonna say something, and they might come for me,
but I just wish the Beehive would do one thing. Beyonce's Super Bowl halftime performance was okay. It was great. But nothing will top Michael Jackson. I'm telling you. No, let me tell you why. Watch it. Mike, look, just stood on stage like this for like,
what was it, like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
But the man stood there and the people going.
He just stood there, yeah, and people just went crazy.
Beyonce can't stand there for no 5 minutes and people fainting. I'm just saying, I love the beat. I ain't got no luck. But folks, stop.
After 30 seconds, people will be wondering, like, come on, girl.
What's wrong with it? Mike was on another level, man. Like, seriously, like that. I was young. I was literally in my final years of primary school at that point. And I was just like amazed that we were talking about it in school the next day, like from teachers to students. No, that was bad. But anyway, thank you for that. That was a very important piece of history.
Yeah, really good piece of history there.
They should come back and do the halftime show again. They should take it over again.
That would be pretty amazing if they had that opportunity. Oh man, can you imagine?
Oh,
well, I mean, we got Bad Bunny coming up, and apparently, well, that's a whole political thing, but I don't know if we will get into that right now because
I'll definitely share a story on the next time I'm up here if you want to know about the in-depth of that one. But yeah, that's a really big one too. So I want to close it out also by thanking the audience right now, because the Daily Hour Instagram page actually hit over 3,000 followers, and a lot of it had to do with the conversation we had with Dr. Kwika Walden. There was a post that we had put up on that channel, and it has been doing numbers globally, even like hitting other Caribbean communities that have really got their eyes on us, on Carrot Genetics, and it has also expanded our audience and our reach. So thanks to the audience for always engaging, and for especially on that platform now that we've like hit that new milestone that we haven't had. So that's really awesome.
Good stuff. No, what's the weather looking like? There's no hurricane out there, is it?
No, it's looking like plenty of sunshine, guys. Plenty of sunshine. So it's going to be a pretty cool looking day in the skies. Thankfully, we got a high of 82 degrees. Now the weather is obviously still in those higher temperatures though, but I expect it to cool down a little bit with a little slight thinner wind. So yeah. All
right. Mia, you have a days of the year for us?
I do. It's International Cupcake Day today. So my question for you two is, do you guys prefer a cupcake? And the audience, of course. Do you prefer a cupcake or cake? And what type of...
Maya don't like cake. She's a hater.
I know, but Maya, you don't like any type of cake? You like pastries, though.
Yeah, I love pastries. I like pie. I like...
Okay.
Okay. I'll eat a cheese. I'll eat a cheesecake. I'll eat a cheesecake.
Okay, so like a cheesecake cupcake could be
maybe
a vibe. What about you, Jamal? Don't you be a hater as well?
Well, I mean, I like snacking. You know, I'm probably going down about 6 cupcakes today if I have a chance. I mean, it's pumpkin season, so they got these like pumpkin cupcakes, and you know, I don't want them to go to waste. So you know, they put these must be sold by today sign, and then I'll do my thing, because you ain't bowling, you got work on a budget. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the pumpkin cupcakes. But Nicole Walker says cupcakes are her fave.
Yeah, mine too. And what's everybody's favorite cupcake flavor? And also, do you take the bottom and put on the top and make like a cupcake sandwich?
Well, let us know, audience, and we're gonna take this break. We'll come back. Cupcake sandwich. Okay.
Doing all of that.
We'll see you soon. Later.
Bye.
Folks, don't go anywhere. In the meantime, give us a like, love, follow, share. We've got Jamillah Lodge is coming up. Cupcake sandwich. I wonder, Ask Jamillah that. Ask Jamillah when she comes up. Folks, don't go anywhere. Give us some love on social media. See you in a bit.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Here with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
At HSBC, how we do business in our community is as important to us as what we do for our community.
We are here at Hungry Bay with HSBC today. We're planted over 500 mangroves using 2 different methods. This work is very vital for our mangrove ecosystem and would not be possible without HSBC's generous support.
I am super happy that we have a team here of colleagues helping us replant some of the mangroves. Mangroves are critical for preserving coastal nature, and with recent hurricanes they have been taken away by waves. By replanting them, we are really helping nature be at its best.
Thank you so much for HSBC for sponsoring the Microforest Project, but by extension, the Hungry Bay Restoration Project.
Thank you to all of the charities, corporate partners, and HSBC volunteers for your commitment to our community.
SCARS stands for Saving Children and Revealing Secrets, and we are a Bermuda nonprofit organization whose mission is to reduce the risk of child sexual abuse and to be an advocate and a voice for children who've been sexually molested, as well as their affected family. New media like the Daily Hour is really important in partnering with organizations like SCARS. It's another platform for us for awareness. There can be no radio silence as it relates to child sexual abuse, and we need as many initiatives as we can get. We need to keep this message alive. In terms of us and the work that we do, live engagement is good because it allows the audience to ask questions, to make comments, even to provide us with encouragement and support. What I love about the live engagement when SCARS is being interviewed by Jamel is just this feeling of safety, this feeling that he gets it, he cares about children. It's a connection.
Welcome back to the big show. Mia Chambray, I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BEDC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's give a warm TDH welcome. We're late, but we will make sure it is great for all of you. Welcome Jamillah Lodge back on the show. We're talking vendors today. Jamillah, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
Hey, Jamillah.
Great. Good morning. Good morning, Bermuda. Good morning, Mia. Good to see you. Morning, Jamel.
Morning. Before we get into the conversation, Mia's got some quick questions to ask you, don't you, Mia?
Okay.
Okay, yes. Number 1, who is your favorite Super Bowl halftime performer?
I like Kendrick Lamar's performance.
Last year,
Of course, I mean, Michael, it's not fair to compare Michael Jackson against anyone else. Like,
true.
You know what I mean? Is there ever going to be one that tops that?
Yeah, true.
Beyonce was good too. I enjoyed that.
She was.
What about Prince? He was my favorite halftime Super Bowl show.
Trying to figure out where I was when Prince performed because I don't recall that one.
That's my second favorite. The rain came down and everything.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it was. Prince was my second favorite. Yeah.
Okay, and then my second question of the morning is, do you like cupcakes? And if so, what is your favorite type? And do you make a cupcake sandwich?
So I like cupcakes. I think my favorite would be my red velvet cupcake. Ooh. And cupcake sandwich is the first time I've heard that here. So I will try it and then I'll give you an update later.
Oh no, she's not going to be helping me work off the calories. I don't know if I'm gonna try it, but I like the idea.
It's all the same thing. It's just you reconfigured it differently, right?
Yeah,
so,
you took off the bottom and you put on the top, and then
you know what you're saying the same thing psychologically, right? You know how they say they have the little donut hole things to make you feel, you know what, folks. If you know me, I'm still gonna eat two worth of donuts, like full donuts. Like it makes psychology. But Jamillah, thank you so much for brand and stopping by with your busy schedule. We're talking about vendors today because look, we've always had like people on the side of the road selling stuff as vendors and so on. But over the last few years, you've seen an uptick in people creating small businesses, selling products, but also in the amount of businesses having vendor markets throughout Bermuda. So thank you for stopping by to talk about this. But many people don't know the BEDC has a vending and vendor market program that helps micro entrepreneurs test their products in public spaces. How did this initiative begin and what's its core purpose today?
So we actually are responsible for issuing vending licenses. So legislation was amended to allow BEDC to issue those licenses. And I think there's something that people don't understand. So in Bermuda, you could be selling Bermuda-made products. So if they're products that you made yourself or like baked goods or fish or anything like that, you don't need a vending license. But if you're importing products and reselling them in Bermuda, that's what you need your vending license for. So we issue vending licenses. You can buy one, a monthly vendor license. You can buy one for the year. The price is like $100 for the year, $25 quarter. So it's definitely not prohibitive. But what this does is gives you permission to sell goods that you have imported at different parts of Bermuda. And so we have seen an increase in people vending. And I think it could be as a result of COVID, like you're home, what are you doing? You started making candles just to pass the time. And then people were like, well, that smells good. I want to buy one. And so next thing you know, you are actually producing candles for resale. And so it's easier to just sell it as a vendor as opposed to the overhead of trying to identify a brick and mortar and all of that. So I think most retailers get their start vending in Bermuda.
Yeah, Looky Look is an example as well. Like they and the people who are in there. So I love it, but I hadn't even thought of what Jamillah just said. Like during the pandemic, people were home and so many people just coming up with ideas. Like
so many businesses started as a result of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely a spark for lots of people, for sure.
Yeah.
To, doing their own entrepreneurial creative endeavors. Jamillah, this is so exciting. I actually didn't know this was an extension of the BEDC. So it's really great to know. I actually have a vendor market idea. So I'll talk to you about that offline. So this is really a fact-finding mission for me, but how does the BEC assist those who are having vendor markets? What kind of support do you provide as far as like infrastructure, training, marketing, and how do you decide which areas to focus on?
So for us, you may know we have economic empowerment zones. And so there are 4 of them. Northeast Hamilton is the first one, Somerset, St. George's, and now Southeast Hamilton. are all economic empowerment zones. And so part of that legislation, or part of our remit, is to encourage commerce in those areas. And one of the ways in which we do that is through vendor markets. So you have people who reside in those areas, entrepreneurs or businesses that actually exist in those areas. And to encourage more people to come to those areas, a great way to do that is a market. So historically, when we first started the EEZs, we took on the role of planning vendor markets, creating these markets within our economic empowerment zones. But our goal is always to not actually do the markets ourselves, but more to support those markets. So you can see now where people who are interested in hosting markets will reach out to us for sponsorship of those markets. So if you have an idea and it allows multiple vendors to come and benefit from your market, then you can apply for sponsorship of that market to BEDC. So the most recent example would be the Court Street Market that's been taking place on Court Street, and we sponsor them. So we give them a set amount of money. We assist with marketing and promotion. But the goal, again, is to create those opportunities for people to get their products out there without the huge overhead of having to go in a brick and mortar store. So that's the way we support. In addition to that, we have run series of workshops around how you maximize your vendor presence. So we've invited industry experts in, because some people think, well, I'll just put up a table and just put my stuff on it and that's it. When it's a lot more than that. Like, people
sure is.
their nose, like they're using all of their senses when they're deciding whether to buy yours or someone else's. And so we try to encourage people, this is your business, right? You want to present and put your best foot forward. So how can you do that? Merchandise it correctly, lay out your table correctly, show up on a consistent basis. These are some of the topics that we covered in the seminars and workshops that we've had and held specifically for vendors.
That's amazing. And it's such simple tools that maybe you don't think of right off the bat. You know, it's just really simple, easy wins that you can get the customer to, you know, part with their money. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Jamillah.
I was just going to say, when you think about it, it's the difference between, think about Harbor Nights, right? And you're looking up and down, and there may be multiple people selling similar things. What are you drawn to, right? You're drawn to the one that looks pretty, that, you know what I mean? You could see all of the products, they're laid out nicely. And so that is, you're taking pride in what it is that you're producing and showcasing. And so it all goes together.
Absolutely. And, you know, we've seen more and more vendor markets pop up in recent years, including more like artisanal and kind of like pop-up events. How have you or the BEDC directly see this growth affecting kind of like local supply chains, small business sustainability, and consumer habits?
So let me just make sure I understand your question. You're saying, how have the pop-up markets impacted existing like brick and mortar infrastructure?
Yes, and then just encouraging people to come out and shop locally.
Yeah. So firstly, I think when you think about the cost of doing business in Bermuda, I'm sure we can all agree that it's high. And not everybody has access to the capital needed to have a full-on brick and mortar store, right? And so not everybody has enough product to warrant having a brick and mortar store. So I think pop-ups and vendor markets are viable alternatives to having to make that huge investment of creating a brick and mortar store, right? So I think that there's huge value in doing pop-ups. What it also allows for the entrepreneur is it gives them the opportunity to test their product, right? I don't know. Maybe I will do this full time. Maybe I won't. But let me just do a pop up and see what the feedback is to my product or service that I'm offering. And so once you can establish demand for your product, then you can talk about, okay, well, this is something that I'm going to continue on a full-time basis. It's worth investing in a more permanent infrastructure. And you mentioned Looky, Jamel. I mean, shout out to Kimwana Eve for, you know, realizing her dream of creating a space to allow vendors to pop up. And that's essentially what it is. It's a amalgamation of all these different types of Bermuda branded, Bermuda produced products that give people a taste of what it's like to have their products in a brick and mortar store. And so you may be in 1 month, next month you may not be there, but certainly it does create a more permanent place for vendors to showcase their products and services. So shout out Kimwana for Looky, because that's what we need in Bermuda. Because after Harbor Nights is over, where you find those people at?
Yeah.
Where
Where are you finding those people at? Exactly. I know. I love Looky. I go there a lot, and I love Kimwana as well. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a hybrid in between, like having your own business. Well, you do have your own business, but having a physical location, and like you said, being able to try things and tweak things, and it's not a full on commitment of, okay, now I got to pay somebody rent. You know what I mean? But what are some of the biggest challenges local vendors face, like from like licensing rules, like logistics, marketing? Or just general challenges that the BEDC supports? What challenges do you see, and how does BEDC to support them?
So I think the biggest challenge for vendors is really consistency, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use that example of Harbor Nights. So Harbor Nights is a set time, and they're producing products. They have the products, and then they're there for that set time. And then what happens, or where do they go after that? So it's ensuring that your customer base, who may be local, can find you anytime they want to find you. And then attached to that is the issue of supply. So if you're producing a product, are you allowing yourself enough time to be able to produce enough so that you can meet the demand of your customers? And so we've seen because most times it's one person, right? It's just me. I'm doing this thing. I'm making my candles, or I'm making my earrings. But I still have a full-time job. So I'm only doing this on the weekend. And so once you have something that people want and they want to see, then it's like ensuring that you have enough to be able to satisfy that demand. Because if you don't, what happens? People forget about you. And then when you come back, you're like, oh, wow, I lost so many of my clients. So I do think that is a challenge for vendors. And I also think that I think most people desire to make it a full-time thing. So having a process in place to make that a reality. So how do I transition from vending into a full-time, full-fledged entrepreneurial venture? And so where BEDC helps is through our educational programming, through the workshops that we have, even the one-on-one individual discussions with our officers that people with. You can book a meeting online with one of our officers, and they're always available. The other thing that we do is whenever we can, try to create opportunities for vendors to get off island to experience what it would be like to sell their goods overseas. So we did take a group of vendors with us to the Events and Culture Summit in New York in, I think it was August. And so that gave them access to see what it was like vending overseas, make some partnerships, etc. There's also a great opportunity that's coming up in November it's called the African Marketplace, and that's being held in Dubai. And it's the brainchild of Ibukan Awashika, who's this, phenomenal $1 million speaker, fabulous first woman CEO of the Nigerian National Bank. And she's always wanted to create African marketplace, which focuses on African made and people from the diaspora, or products being provided by them, but like a high-end level, because we're talking Dubai, right? Money is there. So there's a huge opportunity coming up to participate in that marketplace. So we've had a couple who are interested, and hopefully we'll be able to participate in that marketplace this November. But we see like a bigger contingent of businesses participating in that in future years. And so BEDC would be interested in supporting businesses to complete those applications and get out there so that they can take their vending business from just a local business to a global one. And that's really where we would like to see businesses go.
I'm going to be honest with you. I only learned last year that the vending license goes to the BEDC. I did not know that what you just said, like you do that much to kind of really empower vendors. So I appreciate these conversations because audience, well, let me ask the audience real quickly. Does anyone, or just a yes or no, if you don't say no, if you do say yes, but do you have a vendor's license? I'm interested to know because there are so many people I know who are selling things now. And it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. And whether it's a side hustle or full time, I think just having that spirit, like my niece sent me a text last week, and her mother's telling her, well, tell your uncle what you're doing. And she told me she's starting a lollipop business.
Okay.
And she told me the name of it. And she said it was part of a project at school. And then she said, my sister was telling, well, tell him where you got the stuff to make the lollipops. And she said, my late mother had bought her some stuff and taught her how to do it. And so I was smiling. I'm like, oh, check my mama, just when she was so young, she taught us so much how to sew, how to do things. And you never know with children what they remember and what they like about what they were taught until you put them in that space. And she loved it. So I'm like, well, you know what I did? I went back online it was Amazon Prime. They didn't buy nothing, but I was just like trying to get ideas. Like, what can I do so that next summer I can help her maybe sell solid.
How old is
she? She's 12. She's 12.
So we do the summer student entrepreneurship program. Summer. So I would say, we've made exceptions, right? Because typically we try to get teenagers, but if there's someone who switched on, I think this past summer we had a 12-year-old, and they were one of the top sellers, right? He sold like yo-yos and things like that.
Okay.
So I would say when you have young people that are interested in entrepreneurship, send them to us because we want to encourage that type of thing. So for us, we want to be like a holistic type organization. They come when they're young, we support them as they build out their businesses. We identify and create opportunities for them to do that, and then move on to like a full-fledged business, And so that's really how we want to support entrepreneurs, and that's where we want them. We want them at 12. We want them thinking about the ability for them to own their own businesses. She
will be applying because she'll be 13 by next summer. And the interesting thing, it's not her first rodeo because last year she had made some bracelets. I didn't know my niece was creative because I live in the US, she lives in Bermuda. So I did these things, and apparently she made her dolls clothes, she made all this stuff, and I was just like, oh. But again, my mom taught her how to do so many things when she was like 2 and 3, and she remembers them. So I asked her, "Can I have this bracelet?" So she goes, "Yeah, that's gonna be $3." Do you know? I tell you no lie. My niece, through my sister, text me, said, "Hi, Uncle. You forgot to pay me."
Yes.
Children are savage. Let me tell you.
I love it.
My own son charges me for stuff. I'm like.
But you can't even knock it like a deal. They know.
I love the hustle. I love it.
And because she's so quiet, I think the one thing as I'm listening to you, she definitely could use the help because my niece is a real introvert. She's quiet. She doesn't, she's not outspoken. She's not a person who speaks up. She's the kind of person who go in a corner and just focus.
She asks you for her money, though.
Yeah, exactly. And she can for her money. If you have any questions or comments for Jamillah, send them through. But we do have Charles, just for a clarification. Southeast Hamilton, is that the Reed Street extension area?
Yes.
Okay. So just go over the areas again, the zones. Real quick.
So it's Northeast Hamilton. So back of town, Court Street. And I'm geographically challenged, directionally challenged. So I'm going to do my best. But all of these are on our website at BEDC.com. So Northeast Hamilton is primarily Court Street, going back down, I think, before you get to TCE, it ends. And then Southeast Hamilton is the front area. Let me get it right. She said Reed Street Extension, and I think so, but it's coming down towards Front Street.
I know where King Street and
Street, yes.
Reed Street and King Street collide.
Yes.
Right there. Gotcha.
And then Somerset EEZ, I think, goes all starts in Somerset and goes to what's the second bridge? But before you get to Bold Island.
Not Watford Bridge. I know that small little bridge.
So from Somerset Bridge to
Watford Bridge?
Yes, I think so. Yes. And then St. George's is pretty much all the St. George's. So those are the 4 economic empowerment zones. Like I said, please go to our website and fact check me because but within those zones, we have like specific products. We try to incentivize people opening up their shops there. We do have dedicated funds and resources to support events and markets in those areas. And we have officers assigned directly to those areas. So they try to advocate and support, they participate in council meetings, etc., as it relates to business in those areas and supporting the businesses in those areas.
I did ask the audience if anyone had a vendor's license. Yes or no, audience, you didn't really answer, but Suzanne Ingham says, not now, I had one in the 90s. Jamillah, just remind people, like, what's the process if they wanted to get a vendor's license?
Sure. So you would just log on to our website, bedc.bm. There's a link that will take you to our vendor's license application. You can apply online. Of course, you have to be a BEDC member, so it'll ask you for your member number, business register number. Membership is free, and you can also apply for that online. So once you are a member, you would sign up, pay your fee, and then someone will follow up with you within a week to get you your license.
All right. And how long does the licenses last for?
So you could do it for a year, or you can get like a 3-month license or something like that. So it's for a set period of time, depending on how much you pay. The 3 months is $25. The year's $100.
For someone who's listening, right, they may want to become a vendor or support local markets. What are 3 practical steps that they can take from today, and how can the BEDC help them get started?
So the first thing I would say is please schedule a meeting with one of our officers. So go onto our website, book a meeting, and have a conversation about what it is that you're trying to do, because chances are there may be some things that you overlook. If you're importing items, you want to identify who and where you're importing those items from. The second thing I would say is that you need to determine the frequency of how you're going to be selling these products, because even though you're a vendor, you're still a business owner and you're still bound by the laws governing business owners. And of course, you would need to register with the Office of the Tax Commissioner for a payroll tax ID number. Register with BEDC for your vending license. Like I said, if you're importing goods, if it's homemade, like if you're making those lollipops or you're making the popcorn, you don't need a vending license. If you're importing goods for resale, you need a vending license. So you would apply to us for that. And then you want to identify where you can sell these goods. So we do have an online marketplace, which is fully subsidized by us. So it's free to you. But you can list your businesses or your products on that. It's called Buy Bermuda, buybermuda.com. And that's BY, like made by Bermuda.com. So you can list your products on there, sell them online, or you want to identify what vendor markets are being held so that you can try to get a spot in a vendor market so your products can get out to the public. So that would be what I would suggest you do in terms of steps.
Thank you so much. This has been a helpful conversation. Folks, hey, let's get out there, support our local vendors. Of course, the holidays are coming up, so there's probably going to be a lot of opportunities to support local vendors. Help them out.
Local is better.
Yeah, I agree. Jamillah, thank you so much for
You're welcome.
Another community conversation. We look forward to the next.
Yes, take care. Have a good day.
You as well. Jamillah Lodge, folks, if you appreciated that conversation, if you're streaming with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to see if Mia or you all can name that place. Stick with us.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At Friesenbrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At Friesenbrook, we provide insurance you can count on.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BEDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BEDC, Bermuda business starts here.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazark Feed and Supply has everything you need. From top quality foods to toys and supplies, we've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
PALS is a cancer care charity. We started 45 years ago. What started as a charity with a half-time nurse, and basically just assisting patients going home from the hospital, but patients dying at home. We now, 45 years later, have 6 nurses, a social worker, and a palliative care physician. I know a lot of people that watch the Daily Hour every day, so it's just educational. It helps you know more about specific charities or specific organizations, and kind of get the nitty gritty as opposed to just seeing a flyer on social media or just hearing or seeing a commercial. I think it's more beneficial. Like if I'm on the radio or on TV, I'm just like telling you what I think you want to know. But you might have specific questions that I can answer directly. I think it's much better having the live engagement.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Jamillah Lodge from the BEDC for having another important community conversation with us. Again, audience, help us beat the algorithms. As many people as you know, make sure they have access to these most important community conversations. To do that, all we ask is that whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, YouTube, or LinkedIn, if you're streaming with us, just give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medicals, Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and HSBC for ensuring we can do this with you on a regular basis. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it's a name that plays. Mia, audience, are you ready?
Okay, let's go for it.
All right, here we go. What is the world's highest mountain? The world's highest mountain above sea level. What's the world's highest mountain? What was that?
Everest?
She got it. She beat you all. She didn't give you a chance. Yes, it's Mount Everest. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You even beat Stacey Ann Brown. That never happens. Nobody ever beat Stacey Ann Brown.
Oh, all right, Stacey.
Everybody got it. Suzanne, who usually says, I don't know, Jamal, you. Charles got it. Himalayas says, Dr. Edgen. Well, is Mount Everest considered Himalayas too? Because I mean, it's the area, right?
I know, yeah. That's why I was kind of like, I don't know. why I was like hesitating.
Yeah, is the Himalayas the same thing? Because it's in the Himalayas.
Mountain range, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Mount Everest, folks. It's Mount Everest. But let's wrap it up, Mia. We've got to let people go for the day. So what are your final thoughts on this morning's discussion, the rental landlord agreement, and then obviously the conversation with Jamillah Lodge about the vendors?
So I'm going to keep it really short and sweet, Jamal. I do think it's time for a reform in regards to, rent and tenant and landlord legal infrastructure. Definitely needs an update. I'm glad we're being consulted, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what comes out of the consultation process. And I hope everybody gets on forum.bm and has their say. As far as Jamillah, I love when Jamillah comes on. The BEDC is doing so much to support local entrepreneurs. Starting as a vendor, in the vendor market is a great place to start. I personally started my business at the BUEI vendor market. So that's kind of where we launched our business to test it out. So I have been there, done the Harbor Nights, done everything for many years, and it's tried and true. I definitely recommend it as a budding entrepreneur or just an entrepreneur. And definitely lean into the BEDC for support to get the most maximal amount of support you can get as an entrepreneur. The more you can get, the better. So I think it's great what they're doing. And like she said, love local, support local, and support the economy.
Yeah.
Great.
I just want to say this as it relates to the discussion. Folks, please find the time to participate in the consultations.
Yeah.
Once you participate in the consultations, you then hold the government accountable.
Yeah.
We love to say vote, vote, vote. If you don't vote, you can't complain. No, participate, 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 because if you don't participate, then you can't complain. This is what I talk about when I say the vote is pointless without holding them accountable. So don't talk to me about voting if you're not playing a part. They're giving you the opportunity. Don't allow the government to throw it back in your face and say, well, we had a consultation process. Do better. Do better. As far as the conversation with Jamillah, I absolutely love talking about entrepreneurship. I love talking about hustlers and people who are trying to find ways to make an honest living using the creative juices that they have. So I'm excited to know that vendors are getting the support. And folks, if you have an idea, if you have something that you want to sell, no matter how small you think it is or how big the idea may be, reach out, find out if there are ways that the BDC or the greater community can assist you. But yeah, I'm grateful for that conversation. I'm looking forward to the next. Mia, do you have any daily inspiration for us?
I do, actually. It's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, which is, "A house is made of walls and beams. A home is built of love and dreams."
Man, I love that one, folks. Don't you love that? I love that. That's a good one.
It's nice, right?
Yeah. The difference between a house and a home.
Absolutely. So everybody get on forum.bm and have your say.
I love it. Thank you so much, Mia. Don't forget, folks, if you haven't already, subscribe to our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Windows, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with tomorrow. She's Mia Chambray. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.